The sky above the alien moon was dark and filled with smoke. Red and blue laser lines crossed the air like burning ribbons. The battlefield shook with explosions every few seconds. Dust clouds rose from the ground, and broken metal pieces from ships were scattered everywhere. It looked like a world that had forgotten peace long ago. In the middle of this chaos, human soldier Ethan Ward ran forward with his rifle held tight. His armor was scratched, cracked, and covered with black dust. Even then, he kept fighting because that was his mission: protect his team and finish the operation. Ethan was known as a strong soldier, one who followed orders without question. He never showed fear. He never hesitated. But today, something was different. While Ethan was shooting at enemy drones in the sky, he suddenly noticed something strange at the corner of his eye. A small shape moving between the smoke and fire. It was not a soldier. It was not an adult. It was a child. Ethan blinked. No, this can't be real. But it was real. A small alien girl, no more than 5 or 6 years old, was standing alone in the open battlefield. Her skin was glowing light blue, and her big eyes shimmered like stars. She was shaking, lost, confused, and terrified. Around her, the war continued without mercy. Ethan felt his heartbeat change. Why is a child here? He whispered to himself. Before he could take a step toward her, a heavy laser cannon locked its aim directly at the girl. The weapon glowed bright, ready to fire. Ethan knew what would happen next. There was no time to think. He dropped his rifle and ran. The world around him slowed. Every second felt stretched, as if time itself waited to see what he would do. Ethan's boots hit the ground hard, pushing him forward. Smoke rushed past his helmet. The cannon's energy built up, humming. Louder, brighter. And then boom. A massive laser blast shot across the air like a burning comet. The alien girl froze. She closed her eyes. Ethan threw himself in front of her. The blast hit him directly in the chest. His armor shattered open with a flash of white light. The impact pushed him several feet back and sent him crashing to the ground. His whole body felt like it was on fire. Pain shot through his chest like thousands of needles. Behind him, the alien girl fell backward but was unharmed. Ethan groaned, forcing himself to breathe. The smoke burned his throat. His vision blurred. But he pushed himself up on one knee and looked back at the girl. She stared at him with wide eyes, glowing with fear and disbelief. She had never seen a human before. And she had certainly never seen someone take a blast meant for her, Ethan's. Teammates shouted from a distance, "Ethan, what the hell are you doing? Why did you protect her? She's not human, leave her." But Ethan did not hear them. Or maybe he simply did not care. He turned toward the girl and extended a shaky hand. "It's okay. You're safe now," he said softly. The girl stared at his hand for a moment. Then she slowly reached out and touched it. Her small fingers were warm, gentle. The moment she touched him, Ethan felt something strange, a soft warmth, spreading through his injured chest, calming his pain. He blinked in confusion. What was that? Before he could ask anything, another explosion shook the ground. Enemy drones were closing in from the sky again. Ethan got to his feet and grabbed the girl's arm gently. "We need to move," he said. The girl nodded. Still scared, but trusting him somehow, Ethan pulled her behind a broken metal wall. Laser fire continued to hit the ground around them. He peeked over the edge of the wall and saw enemy machines scanning the area. They were searching for the girl, not for the soldiers. Why? What made her so important? Ethan had no answers. But the way she trembled beside him, the way she held his arm tightly, made him feel responsible for her in a way he didn't understand. He whispered, "What's your name?" The girl hesitated. Then, in a soft, trembling voice, she said, "Leary." Ethan repeated the name, Leary. "Okay, I will protect you." Leary looked up at him, her glowing eyes filled with confusion. "Why?" she asked. "You don't know me." Ethan looked into her eyes. The battlefield noise faded for a moment. "I don't need a reason to save a child," he said. A quiet warmth spread across Leary's face, the first sign of hope she had felt in hours. But their moment did not last. A sharp metallic beep echoed in the air. Ethan's helmet system flashed red. Enemy drones locking target. Leary. Ethan's eyes widened. They weren't shooting at him or his squad. They were aiming only for the little girl, whatever she was. She was valuable, extremely valuable. Ethan quickly grabbed his rifle and lifted Leary into his arms. "We're leaving now." He ran through the ruins as explosions burst around them. Leary hid her face against his shoulder, trembling. Ethan kept running, feeling the weight of both danger and responsibility. For the first time in his life, he wasn't fighting a war for orders. He was fighting to protect someone who had absolutely no one else, and he had no idea that saving this one alien child would change the fate of two worlds. Ethan kept running through the broken battlefield until the sounds of gunfire became distant echoes. Smoke still floated in the air behind them, but for the moment, there was silence. He finally stopped behind a fallen rock tower and placed the alien girl, Leary, gently on her feet. His chest was still burning from the laser blast he had taken earlier. Every breath felt heavy, but Ethan tried not to show pain. A child was watching him, and he needed her to feel safe. Leary looked up at him with wide glowing eyes. She had dust on her face. Her small hands were shaking, and her breath came in short, scared bursts. Ethan spoke softly. "You're okay now." "I'm here." Leary didn't answer. She just stared. It wasn't fear alone. It was confusion. She didn't understand why a human had saved her. Ethan checked the scanner on his broken helmet. The signal was weak, but clear enough. Enemy drones were still scanning the area, searching for Leary. They weren't giving up. Ethan frowned. "Why?" "Are they after you?" Leary lowered her head. Her small fingers twisted together. She didn't speak, not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't know if she could trust him. Ethan noticed this. He knelt in front of her slowly, making sure not to scare her. "My name is Ethan. Ethan Ward. I'm a soldier, but I don't hurt kids." "Never." Leary looked up again. She still didn't say anything, but a small change happened. Her eyes softened, just a little. Ethan took a deep breath and winced. Pain shot through his ribs. Leary's eyes widened with concern. She stepped closer, reached out her small hand, and touched the cracked part of his armor. A warm, gentle glow spread from her hand. Ethan inhaled sharply. The pain in his ribs faded like smoke in the wind. His breath became lighter, easier. His heartbeat, which had been pounding, slowed. What did you just do?" he whispered. Leary pulled her hand back quickly, almost scared she had done. "Something wrong. I'm sorry," she said in a very soft voice. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "Hurt me?" Ethan shook his head slowly. "You healed me." Leary blinked. "No, I didn't heal. I just moved the pain away." Ethan stared. He didn't understand how such a small child could do something so powerful and so gentle. He sat on the ground for a moment, trying to process what had just happened. The battlefield was dangerous, but now a new mystery was growing right beside him. This child, who was she really? Suddenly, thunder-like footsteps echoed in the distance. Ethan grabbed Leary's hand. "We need to go," he said firmly. Leary nodded, this time without hesitation. They moved through a narrow canyon path. Every few seconds, Ethan checked behind them. The enemy drones in the sky grew louder. They were closing in. Ethan whispered, "How are they finding us this fast?" Before he could finish the thought, Leary tugged his sleeve. "They're tracking me," she said. He stopped walking. "How? Do you have a tracker? Did they put something on you?" "No," Leary shook her head. "They follow my light." "Ethan." felt cold run through his chest. "You're light?" Leary lifted her small hand again. A soft blue glow appeared, like a tiny star resting on her palm. Ethan stepped back without meaning to. He had never seen alien power so pure and so controlled. "When I am scared," Leary said quietly, "the light becomes stronger. And they can see it from far away." Ethan looked at her, this tiny, frightened girl who didn't even understand her own gifts. He spoke slowly, gently. "Leary, you're not just different, you're special." Leary lowered her gaze. "That's why they want me." Ethan's jaw tightened. The enemy wanted to use her. They wanted to capture a child with power she barely understood. He couldn't imagine what they would do to her. He made a silent promise in his heart that no one is taking this child. Not while he was alive. As they moved deeper into the canyon, Ethan noticed that Leary stayed close to him now, not because she was scared of the world, but because she trusted him. Her small footsteps matched his. Sometimes she held onto the edge of his armor for balance. The bond forming between them was quiet, but powerful. At one point, Ethan slipped on a loose rock and almost fell. Leary gasped and held his arm tightly. "Careful," she whispered. Ethan smiled softly. "You're telling me to be careful? I should be telling you that." Leary blinked once, then twice, trying to understand the joke. When she understood, a tiny smile formed on her lips. It was small, but it felt like sunlight breaking through smoke. For a moment, the war around them didn't exist, but peace never lasts long in war. A loud metallic screech echoed across the canyon. Ethan looked. Enemy drone, large, armed, searching. It hovered above them and scanned the ground. Its red light passed dangerously close to Leary. Ethan grabbed her and pushed her behind him, taking cover under a rock arch. The drone turned sharply. It had sensed her light again. Ethan cursed under his breath. "We need to block your glow. Can you turn it off?" Leary shook her head. "It comes on its own when I feel scared," Ethan exhaled. "Then you have to trust me. Stay calm, stay close." Leary placed her small hand on his arm. It was her way of saying she trusted him completely. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest, not from healing this time, but from something human. A bond, one he didn't expect, one he didn't ask for, but one he now refused to let go of. He whispered, "I'm not letting anyone hurt you. Not today, not ever." And with that promise, they moved silently through the shadows, unaware that this bond would change the future of two entire worlds. The canyon's narrow path opened into a wide valley full of broken ships and crashed transports. Metal wings, shattered engines, and burned-out cockpits lay across the land like giant skeletons. Ethan scanned the horizon carefully. There was no movement. But this silence felt dangerous. He placed a hand on Leary's shoulder. "Stay close. Don't wander." Leary nodded quickly. Now she walked, almost touching his arm. She didn't want to lose sight of him, not even for a second. Ethan checked the sky. "Drones shouldn't be here this fast," he muttered. "Unless someone is guiding them." Before Leary could ask what he meant, a low electronic hum echoed above them. Ethan froze. He knew that sound. A Hunter-class drone. Fast, deadly, impossible to outrun. The drone dropped out of the sky like a metal hawk, scanning the valley with its red eye. It swept left, then right, and paused. Leary felt something sharp inside her chest. "They see me," she whispered. Ethan grabbed her wrist. "Run!" Now they sprinted across the valley. Ethan's boots crushed metal scraps, each step echoing. Loudly, the drone screeched and fired a laser bolt. It struck the ground just inches behind them, sending metal fragments flying. Leary stumbled, but Ethan scooped her up instantly without slowing down. More blasts followed, closer. Louder, brighter. Ethan zigzagged through the wreckage, using broken ships as cover. His lungs burned, but he didn't stop. Leary clung to him tightly, her tiny fingers digging into the cracks in his armor. "Ethan," she whispered shakily, "I can feel more coming." "How many?" She closed her eyes for a moment. 3, no, 4. "They are coming fast." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Great, just what we needed." He reached an overturned transport ship and ducked behind it. The drone hovered above, searching, scanning. "Got Ethan whispered. "Leary, listen, I need you to stay calm. Your light is attracting them." Leary hugged herself. "I'm trying, but I'm scared." Ethan knelt in front of her and placed both hands on her shoulders. "I know you're scared, but fear is what they want. If you panic, the light grows and they will find us." He lowered his voice even more. "Look at me, only me." Leary's glowing eyes slowly lifted. "You are not alone," he said. "I'm with you. I won't leave you." Her breathing softened. The glow around her faded slightly, not completely, but enough to weaken the drone's signal. Ethan felt a quiet pride inside him. "Good. Stay like that." Then the ship above them shook violently. The drone had landed on top of their hiding spot. Ethan whispered sharply, "Stay behind me." The drone's red beam sliced through the metal, melting a hole. Ethan rolled out and fired rapidly. Bullets sparked off the drone's armor, but it didn't fall. The drone fired back. Ethan grabbed Leary and jumped into a broken cockpit, rolling. Inside as a blast tore through the metal. Leary gasped. Ethan placed a finger on his helmet where his mouth would be. Quiet. The drone hovered outside, scanning. Ethan held his breath. Leary pressed her forehead against his shoulder, trying to make herself small. For a moment, it looked like the drone would leave. Then Leary's glow pulsed again. Just once. Like a heartbeat, the drone turned sharply. "It found us." Leary whispered. Ethan kicked open the other side of the cockpit. "Out. Go." They crawled through a narrow tunnel formed by twisted ship metal and emerged into the open sunlight. Ethan pulled Leary behind a tall engine block, panting. He whispered, "You said you can feel them coming. Can you feel where they are now?" Leary nodded slowly. Her eyes closed and her hands glowed faintly. "They are spreading out, trying to trap us." "How many?" 4 in the sky, and 2 on the ground." "On the ground?" Ethan repeated. "What kind of drones walk?" Leary trembled. "They're not drones. They're hunters." Ethan felt a chill crawl down his spine. Hunters, half machine, half soldier. No mercy, no emotion. They obey only one rule: capture the target alive. Leary was the target. The ground began to vibrate. Slow, heavy footsteps echoed through the valley. Ethan looked at Leary. "Do you trust me?" She grabbed his hand tightly. "Yes." He lifted her into his arms. "Good, because we're running again." They sprinted across the valley. Ethan dodged broken metal, rolled under fallen wings, and leapt over engine parts, all while carrying Leary. She felt lighter than she looked, as if her body carried some inner energy. The footsteps grew louder. A mechanical growl followed. Ethan glanced back, and his stomach dropped. Tall hunter with metal claws and glowing red eyes stepped out of the smoke. Its face was half machine, half flesh. It sniffed the air, detecting Leary's glow. Ethan muttered, "This is bad." Leary's voice shook. "They won't stop until they take me." "Not happening," Ethan said sharply. He fired 3 rounds at the hunter. The bullets hit, but only slowed it for a moment. Behind them, the sky drones closed in again. They were trapped between air and ground enemies. Leary clutched Ethan's neck. "Ethan, I can try something." "What?" She looked terrified. "I can make them see something else, a different image. But it will hurt. A lot." Ethan didn't hesitate. "Do it." She closed her eyes. A bright pulse burst from her body. a wave of shimmering light that spread across the valley. For a few seconds, the drone stopped moving. The hunter froze like a statue, scanning empty air. Ethan felt the glow burn against his skin. "Leary, are you okay?" She collapsed against him, trembling. It worked, but not for long. "We need to run." Ethan lifted her again and ran toward the Rocky Mountains. Behind them, the hunter screamed mechanically as the illusion began to fade. The chase was not over. It had only begun. Ethan climbed the rocky slope with Leary in his arms, every step heavy and painful. The mountains around them were sharp and dark, almost like giant teeth rising from the ground. Cold air rushed through the cracks and echoed like whispers. Behind them, the hunters screamed as the illusion faded. They were back on the chase. Ethan pushed forward until he found a narrow cave entrance hidden behind black stones. He slipped inside with Leary and crouched behind a wall. The darkness swallowed them, but it was safer than the open battlefield. Leary's breathing was weak and unsteady. Her glow had faded almost completely. Ethan adjusted her carefully. "Leary, talk to me. Are you okay?" She nodded, but very slowly. "The illusion takes my strength. I use too much power." Ethan cursed under his breath. "Then we stay here until you can move again." Leary looked frightened. "No, if we stay too long they will find us. They always find me." Ethan leaned against the stone wall, trying to catch his breath. "Then you need to tell me what they want. Why are they after you? Why are they risking this much for a single child?" Leary hesitated. She pulled her knees to her chest and stared at the cave floor. Ethan lowered his voice. "You can trust me, Leary. I saved you, but you also saved me." He touched his chest where she had removed the pain. "We're connected now. You can tell me the truth." Leary lifted her glowing eyes slowly. There was sadness inside them, sadness far too heavy for a child. "They want me." "Because I am the last one," Ethan frowned. "The last what?" She swallowed hard. "The last calm-born." The word meant nothing to Ethan, but the way she said it, quiet, trembling, made it sound like something sacred, something ancient. Ethan asked softly, "What does a calm-born do?" Leary looked toward the cave entrance, as if afraid someone might hear her. "My people, we don't fight. We don't make weapons. We make peace." She touched her chest lightly. "Our light can enter minds, quiet them. Stop anger. Stop violence." Ethan stared in shock. "You can stop wars?" Leary nodded sadly. "That's why the hunters want me alive. They want to use my light to control armies, control leaders, control everyone." Ethan clenched his jaw tightly. She wasn't just a child. She was a weapon to them, a living tool to control the galaxy. Leary continued in a trembling voice. "My people lived far away, hidden from everyone, but someone found us. They came with machines and ships." Her voice broke. "They took everyone. Only I escaped." Ethan's heart twisted. "How did you escape?" Leary hugged her knees tighter. "My mother. She hid me. She blocked my light with her last strength. She said, 'Run, Leary. Don't let them use you.'" Tears welled in her glowing eyes. "I ran. I never saw her again." Ethan felt something sharp inside him. Anger. Not normal anger. Deep, protective anger. A child should never have to watch her world fall apart. "Leary," he said gently, "I'm sorry. I really am." She wiped her tears. "I thought I could hide forever. But my light came back. When I get scared, grows. They saw it. They followed it." Ethan nodded slowly. "That's why they're tracking you." "Yes." She looked up at him. "I didn't mean to bring danger to you. You should leave me. They only want me." Ethan's reaction was immediate and sharp. "I'm not leaving you." Leary blinked. "But they will chase us forever." "Then let them try," Ethan growled quietly. "I've faced worse." Leary stared at him for a long moment, her eyes searching his face, trying to understand why a human soldier cared so much. "Why did you save me?" she whispered. Ethan looked away for a moment, remembering the moment he jumped in front of the blast. "I don't know," he admitted. "Maybe because no one protected me when I was young." He looked at her again. "And because innocent kids shouldn't die in a war they didn't start." Leary crawled closer and sat beside him, leaning her small shoulder against his arm. "You're different from the others," she whispered. "Not like the ones who want to use me." Ethan didn't say anything. But inside, he made a promise, a real one now. No matter what happened, nobody would take this child again. Suddenly, a deep metallic roar echoed outside the cave. Leary gasped. "They found us." Ethan pulled her behind him. "How many?" She closed her eyes. "2 hunters, very close, and 1 human squad." Ethan stiffened. "Human, my people?" "Yes," Leary whispered. "But their minds feel dark. They are not here to help you." Ethan's stomach hardened into a knot. A human squad was working with the hunters. Why? Was someone inside the army trying to capture Leary too? Ethan whispered. "Leary, listen carefully. We're not running this time." She stared at him. "What will we do?" He checked his last full magazine and tightened his grip on his rifle. "We're fighting back." Leary's eyes widened in fear, but this time, not hopeless fear. She was scared with him, not scared alone. A faint glow built around her hand as she touched his back. "I will help you," she whispered. Ethan nodded. Double quotes good, because this is only the beginning. Outside the cave, the hunters roared again, closer than ever, and the humans who should have been allies were now enemies. The cave wall shook as the hunters approached. Dust rained down from above. Ethan pulled Leary deeper inside, staying low, staying silent. He could hear metal claws scraping against rock, slow, careful steps, but the footsteps behind those were human. Human boots. Human voices. Ethan's heart tightened. His own people were coming, but not to rescue him. "Leary," he whispered. "Stay behind me, no matter what." Leary nodded, though fear flickered in her eyes. Outside, a soldier shouted, "Ethan Ward! Come out! You're disobeying orders." Ethan frowned. "Orders? What orders?" he muttered. Another voice echoed, colder, firmer. It was Commander Reyes. "Ethan, hand over the alien child, now. This is a direct command." Ethan felt Leary tremble behind him. He squeezed her hand gently. Commander Reyes' voice boomed into the cave. "That girl belongs to us. The army needs her power. We cannot allow her to fall into enemy hands." Ethan's blood turned cold. "Belongs to us? No child belongs to anyone." Ethan stepped forward slowly, but not out of the cave, closer to the entrance where he could see shadows. "Commander," he shouted back, "she's a child, not a weapon." Reyes responded instantly, no hesitation. "She is a calm-born ward. With her power, we can end all wars." "Bring her out." Ethan shook his head. "You mean you can control every mind in the galaxy? That's not peace. That's slavery." Silence. Then Reyes spoke, voice dripping with authority. "Ward, don't make this difficult. You are a soldier. Follow orders." Ethan glanced back at Leary. Her face was pale. She whispered, "They used the same words." "When?" "They took my people." That was all Ethan needed to hear. He turned toward the cave entrance, raised his rifle, and shouted, "I'm not handing her over." A few human soldiers gasped. Reyes growled, "You're choosing an alien child over your own army?" "I'm choosing what is right," Ethan replied. "Something you forgot." The cave exploded with sound as the first laser shot hit the rocks. Ethan grabbed Leary and rolled behind a stone pillar. Dust burst into the air. Leary covered her ears. Her small body shaking. "Ethan," she whispered, "your people want to hurt you. Because of me." He pulled her close, shielding her from falling debris. "No, they want power. You're just their tool. But not anymore. Not while I'm here." Her eyes glowed faintly, not with fear, but with something else. Trust. Outside. Reyes barked new orders. "Move in, capture Leary alive. If Ward resists, take him down." Metal footsteps mixed with human boots as hunters and soldiers advanced together. Ethan had seen a lot in war, but this humans working with monsters was something he would never forget. He whispered, "Leary, when I say run, you run, but stay behind me, understand?" Leary nodded, even though her voice shook. "I understand." Ethan peeked around the stone. A soldier stepped too close. Ethan fired a sharp, controlled burst, not to kill, but to disable. The man fell, weapon flying from his hands. Another soldier fired back. Ethan ducked and returned fire again. Then one of the hunters roared and pushed into the cave, its claws ripping into the stone. Its glowing red eyes targeted Leary instantly. Ethan stood up and fired at the hunter's head. The bullets dented its metal skull but didn't stop it. The monster pushed forward. Leary gasped. Ethan grabbed her hand. "Move." They ran deeper through the cave tunnel. Laser blasts and claws sliced the walls behind them. The hunters were closing in fast. Finally, they reached the back of the cave. A dead end. Leary froze. "There's no door, no way out." Ethan hit the wall with frustration. Damn it! They were trapped. Outside, Reyes laughed, calm and victorious. "You can't hide forever, Ward. Just surrender. The child belongs with us." Leary shook her head violently. "No, I don't want to go with them." Ethan knelt in front of her and held both her shoulders. "Look at me, Leary." Her eyes lifted slowly. "I'm not giving you up," Ethan said firmly, every word sharp as steel. "Not to hunters. Not to soldiers. Not to anyone." Leary's lip trembled. "You're the only one who ever said that." Ethan gently wiped a tear from her cheek. "That's because it's the truth." And then it happened. Her glowing tear fell onto the ground. The moment it touched the stone floor, a soft wave of blue light expanded, forming a shimmering energy shield around them. Ethan stared in disbelief. "Leary, what is this?" I didn't mean to," she whispered. "It happens when I feel something strong, when someone truly protects me." The shield grew brighter and thicker. Hunters clawed at it but couldn't break through. Laser shots from soldiers bounced off, leaving ripples of blue. Reyes shouted in frustration. "What is this? Break through, now." But they couldn't. Leary looked up at Ethan, her eyes glowing like stars. "You changed something inside me." Ethan placed a hand on the shield. "No, Leary, you changed something inside me." Outside, soldiers regrouped. Hunters prepared to strike again. The shield wouldn't last forever. Ethan stood, gripping his rifle with new determination. "This ends now," he whispered. And for the first time, Leary stood up beside him, not hiding, not trembling, but ready. In the darkness of the cave, surrounded by enemies, their bond had become unbreakable. The ground outside the cave cracked open as two hunters landed with heavy metal thuds. Their glowing red eyes scanned the darkness. Ethan tightened his grip on Leary's hand. "We're going deeper into the mountains," he said urgently. "Stay with me." Leary nodded, though her legs shook. "I'll try." They climbed out the back of the cave through a narrow opening. Ethan pushed rocks aside and squeezed first, then pulled Leary after him. Behind them, hunters smashed their way into the cave. The mountain wind hit their faces as they reached a steep slope. Ethan almost slipped on the loose gravel but caught himself on a rock. The sky exploded with light as 3 drones fired at the mountainside. Leary screamed and ducked. "Keep low." Ethan shouted over the noise. The rocks rumbled and began to fall. Ethan shielded Leary with his body as boulders crashed around them. When the shaking stopped, Ethan grabbed her hand again. Move. They ran along a narrow cliff. One wrong step meant falling hundreds of feet. Leary clung to Ethan's arm, trying not to look down. Behind them, Rourke shouted from the cave. "Warg! You can't escape." Ethan didn't look back. "I am not letting you take her." He shouted into the wind. A drone swooped down low. Ethan fired 3 rapid shots, and the drone blew apart in sparks, but 2 more replaced it instantly. Leary's glow flickered again, unstable, fearful. "Ethan," she whispered, "I can feel your pain. It's getting worse." "Forget my pain," Ethan said. "Just worry about staying alive." But she couldn't forget. She could sense every broken cell in his body, every bruise, every hit he had taken for her. And it hurt her emotionally as if she had taken those hits herself. Suddenly, the cliff shook. A hunter landed right in front of them. It towered over Ethan by 2 feet. Claws shining, red eyes burning like fire. Leary froze in terror. Ethan stepped in front of her. "You want her?" he growled. "Come through me." The hunter roared and swung its arm. Ethan dodged barely in time. The claws scraped the stone, sending sparks everywhere. Ethan fired at the hunter's joints. The bullet slowed it, but didn't stop it. The creature lunged again. Ethan rolled and pushed Leary aside. "Run!" he yelled, but Leary didn't move. Instead, she placed both hands on the hunter's claw. Her glow burst like a small star. The hunter froze. Its red eyes dimmed for a moment, confused, disrupted. Ethan seized the chance. He grabbed a fallen metal shard and stabbed the hunter in the neck plate. Sparks sprayed. The hunter howled mechanically. "Go now!" Ethan shouted. They ran again toward a rocky ridge, but the second hunter dropped down behind them, blocking their path forward. They were trapped between 2 monsters. Leary's voice shook. "Ethan, I don't know what to do." Ethan looked at her, really looked. "You're stronger than you think." "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know," he said. "But fear doesn't decide what you are. You do." Leary swallowed hard, then raised her hands. Her glow expanded into a shimmering wave, not calm this time, but sharp and bright like a shield. The hunters staggered backward. Blinded. Ethan picked Leary up and ran through the gap between the creatures. The shield faded behind them. They reached the mountain's edge, only to find a sheer cliff with nothing but a valley far below. "No," Ethan muttered. "We're cornered." Drones hovered overhead, forming a cage of red lights. Rourke arrived behind them with armed soldiers. "It's over, Ethan," he said calmly. "Hand her over." Ethan held Leary close. "Over my dead body." "That can be arranged," Rourke replied coldly. He raised his gun. Leary grabbed Ethan's face with both hands. "Ethan, I can stop them." "What? How?" he asked desperately. "I can reach their minds. But it will take everything I have left." "Leary, no." "You'll die," she smiled softly. Small, brave, heartbreaking. "My mother said, my light must protect life. You protected me. Now I protect you." Before Ethan could stop her, Leary stepped forward. Her glow exploded, brighter than ever before. A wave of pure light swept across the mountaintop. The drones froze. The soldiers dropped their weapons. Rourke fell to his knees, eyes wide, mind overwhelmed. Even the hunters staggered and collapsed. Ethan watched in shock and horror. Because Leary was fading, her glow became thin, weak, disappearing. Ethan rushed to her and caught her as she fell. "Leary, stay with me, please." She touched his face gently. "You saved me more than once. I wanted to save you too." Her glow dimmed completely. "No, Leary, no." The world around Ethan went silent. This was the final stand, but the story was not over. The battlefield had gone silent. Smoke drifted through the valley like slow-moving ghosts. Ethan stood with Leary held tightly in his arms, both breathing hard, both shaking from everything they had survived. But the danger wasn't gone. Not yet. The ground trembled again deep. Heavy, rhythmic. The enemy forces were regrouping. A line of human soldiers appeared on the ridge, walking with cold, empty expressions. Behind them came the hunters, glowing red eyes, metal claws, moving like shadows with purpose. Ethan's body ached with wounds from the last fight. But he didn't step back, not an inch. He gently placed Leary behind him. "Stay low," he whispered. "I'll protect you one last time." Leary's eyes filled with fear and sadness. "Ethan, you can't win alone." He glanced back with a weak smile. "I didn't save you to let them take you now." Leary grabbed his armor tightly. "I don't want you to die." Ethan looked at the enemy forces closing in. His voice was low and steady. "I don't plan on dying, but if I do, it won't be for nothing." The enemy commander stepped forward. His voice echoed through a megaphone. "Ethan Ward, surrender the girl. You cannot fight us all." Ethan lifted his rifle. "Try me," the commander laughed. "You're protecting an alien child? One who can rewrite minds? One who can control nations?" Ethan shouted back, "She's a child, not your weapon." Leary trembled behind him. Her heart pounded so fast that her glow flickered like a small flame fighting wind. One of the hunters roared and stepped forward. Ethan fired. The bullet bounced off its armor, but the message was clear. He would fight until his last breath. The hunters charged. Ethan fired again and again. Bullets flying, sparks erupting as they hit metal. He dodged, rolled, and protected Leary with his own body every time an attack came too close. He couldn't win, but he refused to stop. A claw slashed across his back. Ethan cried out but stayed standing. A laser blast hit his leg. He stumbled but pulled Leary behind a rock. He was running out of strength, running out of time, running out of hope. But Leary was watching him fight for her life, for her freedom, for her future. Her small hands trembled violently. "I can't let him die. I can't." She stepped out from behind the rock. "Leary, no!" Ethan shouted, but it was too late. She walked forward, right into the open. The hunters paused for a moment, confused. The soldiers stared. Leary raised her hands and her entire body exploded with a brilliant glow. A light so pure, so powerful, so gentle, that even the smoke in the air seemed to freeze. Ethan shielded his eyes. The hunters didn't know what was happening. The human soldiers flinched, stepping back. Leary whispered softly, "No more fear. No more pain. Stop." A wave of calm swept outward, silent, invisible, unstoppable. The hunters' eyes dimmed, their claws lowered. Their machines went silent, as if their anger had been pulled out like a thread. The human soldiers dropped their weapons, their minds suddenly quiet, peaceful, confused. Even the earth seemed to breathe again. Ethan stared in disbelief. "Leary, what did you do?" She turned around slowly. Tears streamed down her glowing cheeks. "I didn't hurt them. I only showed them peace." Her legs shook. Her light flickered, then she collapsed. Ethan ran to her and caught her before she hit the ground. He held her small body in his arms as if she were made of glass. "Leary, stay with me," he whispered. She opened her eyes weakly. "You saved me so many times. I wanted to save you too." Ethan felt tears sting his eyes, something he had not felt in years. "You did more than save me. You saved everyone." The soldiers around them began to slowly recover. Their eyes settled on Leary, not with fear, not with greed, but with awe. One soldier whispered, "She ended the fight without killing anyone." Another murmured, "She's not a threat. She's a miracle." Ethan rose to his feet with Leary in his arms. He faced the soldiers and spoke clearly. She is not a weapon. She is hope. And I will protect her with my life. Leary rested her head on his chest. Ethan, will I be safe now? Ethan held her closer. With me, always. The war didn't end in one day. But news spread across the galaxy about the child who stopped soldiers without firing a single shot. About the human who shielded her with his own life. About the moment two worlds understood each other through one act of sacrifice. Ethan became her guardian, her protector, her family, and Leary became the living symbol of peace. A final line echoed across history. He took blasts for an alien child. And in return, she rewrote the destiny of two worlds.